Let's bring in top-ranked tech analyst Mark Mahaney. He's Evercore ISI's head of internet research. Mark, great to have you with us. What's your reaction to this deal, and how does this impact the space you cover?
Well, it's surprising that it closed so quickly, but clearly the board was convinced that that funding was secured. There weren't any other bidders, as Karen pointed out. And they probably weren't that confident in their ability to deliver their 2023 financial goals, which I and other people have been somewhat skeptical about. And they probably also realized that the markets were in a bear market, and it's kind of hard to see the growth equities coming back quickly. So the path of least resistance was to agree to the bid, even though it was a first bid. It was not even to negotiate on it, just to agree to it. So to me, it's a little bit like when LinkedIn sold to Microsoft. It was a pretty quick deal, and I guess they just didn't feel like they could get the stock above 54.20 on their own within the next year. So pull the plug, agree to the deal. I'm just a little surprised it happened so quickly, but it's done.
Hey, Mark, it's Tim. We're talking about the ad business, $5 to $6 billion. What do you think happens to this business from a guy who's self-proclaimed doesn't believe in it?
I agreed with what Dan just said a few minutes ago, which is a little bit of a surprise, but I think he may be dead right. Advertising business may be going south before it recovers at Twitter. So look, there are two customers of Twitter here. They're consumers, there's all of us, and then there are the marketers. They're the people who spent $5 billion last year, which is a decent chunk of change on the Twitter ad platform. Musk hasn't mentioned anything about some of the product innovations that marketers have been looking for, that this current management team has been focused on. If anything, he's talked about a subscription model that our survey work suggests maybe 13% of Twitter users are really interested in. If you're an advertiser, if you're a marketer that's on Twitter now, what are you going to do? You're probably going to be shuffling some of those ad budgets to other platforms, Reddit, TikTok, Facebook, Snapchat. So my guess is that the Twitter ad revenues first go down. I don't know if I doubt that causes any funding problems or financial problems for Musk, but I think those ad dollars are going to go down, and those dollars are going to go to other platforms.
Where do they, which platforms do you think, Mark? And also the 13%, maybe the 13% is the audience that you actually want to show your ads to.
Oh, that could be. I like that point, Melissa. So yes, I'm sorry. I've done survey work on Twitter for, 8 years or something like that, every 6 months. By the way, I've never seen content moderation as a major key issue for users. I don't think putting in more or less moderation is going to dramatically expand the user base. But I think a lot of the initiatives that Musk has talked about, allowing editing of tweets, removing some of the character limits, I think there's some basic, user-friendly steps that he and hopefully his new management team can take to make the service better for users. I think lack of good product innovation has been a major issue at Twitter for years. Subscription business, though, I just think it's a small percentage of people who really want to pay. And yes, those are probably the most attractive targets for advertisers. So there would be some cannibalization there. And then finally, in terms of where those ad budgets would go to, I think Twitter has largely been an experimental ad buy. I can't imagine that a marketer would go first in on Twitter and then buy Google or Facebook. So my guess is that those dollars will kind of shimmy back, move back towards Facebook, Google, but also to Reddit, TikTok, and Snap. I think there's a couple of different small winners from this.
Mark, great to get your thoughts. Thank you.
Thanks, Melissa.
Mark Mahaney, Evercore ISI. Guy, do you think that there's any read-through to the other social media names in terms of, this business was, basically Mark was saying that the board said, you know what, we can't do it. You take it.
Snap, maybe. Dan can speak to Snap. Pinterest, I guess you got to put them out there. The one that's going to be fascinating this week is going to be Facebook. Think about a stock that's been cut in half from its all-time high. The level that stock traded to, the market cap it had, to cut a stock like that in half over the course of 3.5, 4 months is remarkable. So I think we're going to find out a lot more about the entire space when Facebook reports.
Well, and if you think about Facebook over the last 3 quarters, their ad growth has been staggering. Okay, so think of the tailwind that's going on in the digital ad space. Think about what Google and Facebook and to some lesser extent than TikTok and Snap and others are fighting over. But Facebook still dominates. And this is what's interesting about this. If anything, you'd think that this would either put a bright light on just how strong that ad business is at Facebook, unless, of course, as Guy says, there's something that we don't know. The market's been trading Facebook like this for multiple quarters, though. And it's going to come back to they are still in the sweet spot of really advertising today. And I don't see that being given up.
Elon Musk is a very smart individual, correct?
True.
I wouldn't be surprised if this thing goes back to being a publicly traded company within a couple of years.
That could happen. Right.
And thank you, Morgan Stanley, who lent me the money. You're now the lead underwriter.
That could happen. I mean, it's Elon. Anything can happen.
Yeah. All right. Let's take a look at this live picture at Twitter headquarters in San Francisco. The company is currently holding an all-hands meeting as we speak. CEO Parag Agrawal telling employees the company will continue to operate normally. The chairman saying the board decided Musk's offer represented best value for shareholders. We'll bring you any other headlines as they cross.